found The Naked Truth. Lively discussions about business, marketing, and personal development for small business owners. No hype, just help.
It's the Friday finish.
Wow, a little extra there for you folks. No charge for that.
No charge. Friday finish. We
Friday
are done.
finish.
Another week.
The big Friday, the big 5-0. Friday finish, the 50th episode.
50th episode.
How fast did that go by?
Actually, very quickly, right? So,
Very quickly,
yeah, right?
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So many people are like, man, I'm going to be streaming every day. And we haven't even been streaming every day, or only the weekdays.
Yeah, we even missed some here and there. We don't
Yeah.
do the weekends, and we miss some Thursdays. And
Yeah.
still, it feels like the blink of an eye. Yeah,
It does. So,
Pretty crazy.
yeah, maybe we're having too much fun, Paul.
that's probably what it was. That's usually what makes it happen.
Yeah. And so, what happened to you this week? Let's start with Jew. What happened with Jew this week?
Let's see. This week, you know, this week went by really fast, and I felt frustrated a lot this week, and I even got to the point, this is like classic entrepreneur stuff, right? I had moments this week where I was like, am I supposed to be doing this? Where I was like, am I like weighing over my head? Like I had moments, we all have moments like that sometimes, right? And this was one of those weeks for me where I was like, I've been working so hard, and then I was like, you know what? Sometimes it doesn't matter if you work really hard. Like if you just can't get it done, if you don't have the right implementation stuff, right? And I had a little moment where that doubt crept in, and I was like, man, am I this? And I was like, no, that's what happens because you've been working hard, and like everything hasn't just fallen at your feet, and you're like, oh, you know, and I'm like, shut up and get back to work, like.
Right. Papa, snap out of it, right? It is, and it's true. It's like when you're in the midst of it, right? And this is like something that I was telling you when you told me this is the 50th show that we have. And I was like, really, that is super interesting. What have we achieved thy far, right? And my first thing was like, wow, we haven't set any KPIs for ourselves. So we cannot go back and be like, we achieved this KPI, we achieved key performing indicators. That's what a KPI is. Key performing indicators. So if we don't know, like, where are we going for views, how many views, where do we want to go, what are we measuring? We haven't done any of that stuff. We're just like, hey, we love hanging out. Let's do that, let's do that live. It's because we don't have that. We don't really know. It's the 50th episode. What have we done? Aside from having fun with each other, right?
Yeah.
So we need to do that.
But I mean, we have some of that stuff that we do though, where we've talked about audience engagement, and like we've seen how our audience is growing, right? Like we see our view numbers go up, we see our comments going up. I mean, look at where's the wheel of names? Did you do the wheel of names?
I did not. Here it is. We are.
Oh, you got to do it still?
Yeah, we're gonna flip it in a second.
There's got to be more names than that go on that wheel this week.
This week we had a lot of participation, but from very dedicated fans. So 5 of them, but they were really engaging. So we loved it. So it's good. Actually, my mama is on that wheel because my mama showed up.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, some family
Very
support,
cool.
And it's really nice when we do the video conferences. I'm like, Ima, I see you, and she's like, every time I see you, I'm gonna send you love, and I'm like, thank you. And these are like such treasure moments for me because they're not gonna last forever, right? There's gonna be a day where it's not gonna be like my mom supporting me, right? Or I can just call by and be like, hey, thanks for the support, right? So these are like little treasures that may seem menial, right? Like, yeah, of course your mom supports you, but it's like, yeah, but she's not going to be there.
I never told you. Oh my God, here's a confession. So at least a week ago, probably 2 weeks ago now, we had an episode. I don't remember which episode it was. We had an episode where we were talking about like cultural stuff and sort of doing the whole kids today. There got to be a point where we went to kids today. And I was trying to make a point about how, in fairness to kids today, like they don't have, like they're so used to using technology that they don't know how to not use technology almost. Like if they don't have it, they don't know what to do. I don't remember the exact, but the point was, I remember I was comparing that to my own childhood at one point, and I said, when I was really young, my family didn't have a lot of money. And I said, we were not living in poverty, but we just didn't have a lot of money. And I told you, I said, my mom would say no to a toy if I asked for a new toy, but she'd never say no about books. Do you remember that?
Yeah, totally. And it was probably one of our book days. What happened? You asked her to buy you a book and she said no?
My dad was watching that episode and came over like way later that day or the next morning. He came over, he goes, "Oh, you had it real rough, huh? You had to play with a stick." I was like, "What?" And he goes, "You said on that show that you didn't have toys when you were a kid and you had to play with a stick." He goes, "That's a bunch of horse shit." And I was like, no, wait now. I was like, I didn't have toys. I said I just was one of those kids where we still played outside, and so I would play with a stick.
Right.
He goes, "Nah, you made it sound like you were destitute and poor." And he was so pissed because he's like, basically I made him look like a deadbeat dad because I was, like,
Yeah.
he busted my chops about that for 3 days straight.
Really? So now we have to be careful about what we say on the show
I
because
know.
your parents are watching.
I know.
I'm lucky because my parents don't speak English very well, so they're just like, yeah, go Yvonne.
They
And
just
for you-
see you and that's enough.
Right,
Like,
yeah,
"Oh,
just
she's
like,
talking about, but she looks good. That's right.
Totally, right? Did I show you the pictures that I put some on Facebook of me doing the whole gun reenactment, right? With like Caleb coming and then like,
Oh, yeah.
and so I shared them with my family group on WhatsApp. And my brother, my youngest brother, goes like, "Hey, his daughter Lorraine, she's very proud of me because she goes to everybody and she's like, my aunt is like a badass. Don't mess with my aunt." And, and I was like,
Don't mess with my
"Don't
aunt.
mess with my aunt. She can, Krav Maga your ass." And I was like, I'm very honored to be, a good role model for her. And all my sisters were like, "Oh, who's full of themselves now, huh?"
That's what you just gotta go. You want a piece?
Right? I just put the Wonder Woman thing where she
Step
was
up
like,
and do what you gotta do. Like, right?
the anime. Remember Wonder Woman in the back days where she flipped? Like she used to
Yeah.
be dressed in the front, right?
Yeah.
And then like all that, like, was it 80s, 90s? Where she's like, right,
It was like the
bullets?
70s, 80s. Yeah, I was real little. Linda Carter.
Yeah,
The original one.
I love her.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was like, come on, Wonder Woman.
Hey, I hate to totally cut the conversation, but I'm freaking out a little bit. I cannot find us on Facebook right now.
Really?
Yeah. I don't know. Like, are you sure we're like, is this just you and me talking to each other and like nobody else can see us? I don't know.
Actually, you know
I'll
where
let
we are? We are on YouTube on our page.
Okay.
See. Actually, let's make sure that we are on our page.
Well, while you do that, I'll set up. Did you see the YouTube link that I sent you of the kids playing the rock band made out of kids?
We are on YouTube on our page, so actually we can share that on Facebook if you want.
Okay.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the only place we're on. Ta-da! At least we have a record of our great
Right?
stories. Yeah.
So today I found this video.
Wait, are you feeling like really? I was like, oh, we're only on YouTube. Do you have that feeling of like, oh, we're not on Facebook? They're like,
Well, I don't know. It's a tragic irony. In some ways, I'm like, it's our 50th episode, and no one's gonna celebrate it with us because we're just gonna be here talking. Like, does everyone even watch us on YouTube?
No.
Usually LinkedIn and Facebook, right? All right.
And Twitter and Twitch. And
Yep. Are we on Twitch?
we're not. Let me see if I can get it back. Let's see what happens.
Oh man.
Now we are.
Now we are.
Hey, everybody. We've been here for the past 15 minutes talking
There it
about
goes.
things that you will only know if you come to be the naked truth.
This is we're trying a new format in which we talk without anyone being able to watch us for the first 15 minutes
And then,
to see if you'll go back and watch it to see what we talked about. That's what we're
and
doing.
it was really great because it was something that Paul's dad
It was
mad
pretty
at him.
funny. It was pretty funny now that I think about it. Do you have that link to that YouTube video that I sent you?
Which you
I put it in our rundown sheet.
No, I haven't been. Come on. So while you look for it, let me tell you what my week has been. So we started a challenge for wedding planner David Tutera, and we are going live today. We went live like 3 times interviewing people. One of the best ones that I interviewed today was Ken Davenport, and Ken Davenport is a 2-time Emmy Award winner and the owner of the Inc. 5000 fastest growing company. And,
Really?
Yeah, and his business crashed. If you think about it, COVID, right, killed the entire Broadway business completely. And he was talking about it. I was like, okay, so now what do you do? Right? He's like, man, there's so many things that I wish I had started back then, but I was like, I'm good, I'm comfortable, things are great.
Yeah.
So he hasn't, and so he's going back to them now. And we talked about diversifying your income, because you never know what COVID will happen, right? Like another COVID or something like that. And then we talked to Deanna Rogers, who's the event planner of Digital Marketer. They put up events, 10,000 people and up. So traffic and conversion, huge events. And they're always on the road and they're always talking to people. And I was like, wow, so COVID happened 3 weeks before their biggest event. 10,000 people signed up, booked hotels, bought airline tickets. The vendors were ready to go. That was their biggest event of the year. And COVID happened 3 weeks before, and they had to postpone it. And then so now they pivoted to very, very quickly to online events. And she goes like, now it's live. She loves it, right? And I was like, man, I've been talking about this shit forever. Right? But everybody said we were so comfortable, right?
Yeah.
With whatever we were doing, and we had our blinders like that. Everything's going right. Why should we do anything different?
Right.
And COVID actually brought all these event planners into their realization that you have to have some hybrid thing going on, right? Don't put all your eggs in the whatever basket.
Right.
And diversify, and always kind of like be marketing yourself. And so one of the great advice that Ken shared, he goes like, look, what are you fantastic at? Take that into another market, right? Like, what is it that people always say that you're really, really good at? If you're only in weddings, like maybe you can take that magic of weddings and now do this for bar mitzvahs. And now you have 2 different, wedding falls, you have bar mitzvahs. And so one of the things that he was saying, what if you're a wedding planner just for like 3rd marriage? And he goes like, why?
You got a whole company branded 3rd time's a charm, and you only did
right. And he goes like, if it's your 4th one, it's for free. But he's like, it's fantastic. And then while he's talking about it, he goes up, looks up the domain, and he goes like, the domain is open. Who's gonna jump on the 3rd wedding?
That's funny,
right? But he's like, but isn't that like a fantastic way of positioning yourself, right, as just that one thing that you're really good at, and just being known for that one thing, and then you can take that to different places. So it was a fantastic, really fantastic discussion. But oh my God, talk about Zoom. What do you call it? Fatigue.
Zoom fatigue, yeah, because you've been running all those sessions
From the morning.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have 5 more days to go. But if anyone's interested, it's really, really interesting. It's fantastic. And it's really interesting, right? Because you think event planning. So Ken goes like, look, we put on the same event for 8 days in a row. Every night it's a new event, but it's the same one, right? It's the same show, the same Broadway show. And David Tutera goes like, yeah, and they only have one shot at making that wedding perfect.
Yeah.
Right? And I was like, man, I didn't realize how much pressure
you have with
that, right? And your clients think like, every little thing is, do or die. Oh my God, the color is not the same.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then word of mouth and social media, and you can be, completely destroyed with like one event.
Yeah.
So it's a world that I had no idea, like, everything that goes into it. And, we have Bridezilla, right?
That's a tough. I would never. I have one colleague who is specializing, a guy over in Ireland, who really has built a niche for himself as a stage hypnotist for weddings.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm like, you go, brother, have fun. Like, I'm like, you can have it all. Tell you what, you come to America and do all the American ones too, because I got no interest in that. I got no interest in
Oh,
it.
you're talking about like hypnosis for wedding.
Yeah, he's doing hypnosis shows at the wedding receptions, right? At the party afterward.
Yeah.
Instead of just having a DJ, he's you know, doing shows as entertainment, and he's having a blast with people and they love it. But it's just that subculture, you know. I'm like, you couldn't pay me enough to
Really,
be in
like,
that
because that
commercial
seems
space.
like a small part of being, you know, of the wedding, that you just come there for fun. You're not responsible about everything. So why wouldn't you do that?
Because the culture of that you described runs through everything.
Of that
Like
one,
the bridezilla
bridezilla,
and all that. That's doesn't matter whether you're providing the flowers or the food or the entertainment or whatever. The same thing is, this is my special day. It needs to be perfect. And if it's not, you're going to hear about it from me at every level. And I'm like, I got no desire to,
that's true.
like, I want everyone to have their special day. I'm happy for people. I love. But I'm like, but I don't want to, I'm like, I don't want to work in that. Like, no, thank you.
Yeah.
The
So
great
we're
thing
actually,
about being in business for yourself, right, is you can define that stuff and go, nah, there's other ways for me to make money. I'm not going to do that.
my son goes like, you're firing too many people.
It's just a hammer.
I know, right? And I was like, but that's the beauty, right? Like you can choose your clients and you can choose your employees. And you can choose who to work with.
Yeah.
And now I know that we are live everywhere because we're getting a comment from Twitch that says, how can I introduce myself into the first contact with the interviewer? Paul, how can he introduce himself into first contact with you?
Well, that's a great question. I'm on Facebook. So if you search Paul Ramsey Hypnotist on Facebook, you'll find me. I'm pretty easy to spot. Only my profile pic is me when I was 5. So it won't be my face on my profile pic. It's me when I was 5 with Spider-Man. So if you find me on Facebook and I'm on Instagram and I'm on TikTok.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm all around. I'm easy to find. Google Paul Ramsey Hypnotist and you'll find me.
Make sure that you put hypnotist because there's another Paul Ramsey.
Yeah, there's many others. Yeah, there's a musician in England and a dead billionaire in Australia. And yeah. So there's
Yeah, it'll be fantastic. Go bug them.
So
then come to
what was the other? Oh, so wait, did you find the YouTube thing? I sent you the link in Messenger. I didn't put it here because you always say you can't.
You're right. You're absolutely right. Yes. Okay.
You always say you can't cut and paste.
You're right.
I watched this today and it made me so happy. And then I had another moment. I was like, man, I'm at the end of my week. I have little patience. Did you put up this video for a minute?
Hold on a second. Hold on. We'll do that.
I love seeing stuff like this. I love seeing, like, again, as a former teacher, I think it's a bunch of baloney how often older people like us, because we are getting to be older people now, love to complain about young people. And so, like, when I see stuff like this, I'm like, this is awesome. Older folks like us need to shut up.
Okay, hold on a second. Here, I'm going to bring it up. So, hold on. We're going to do this like this.
Watch, everyone watch. Like, watch these kids.
Just watch this kid. Hold on a second.
Way you move, gonna make you sweat, gonna make you groove. I'll show you when you shake that thing, gonna make you burn, gonna make you sing. Hey baby, when you walk my way, with your honey drip, can't keep away.
They're not just like kind of playing it. Like, they're playing it.
Yeah, and we got a guy.
Right? Like, she can actually sing. They can really truly play. They're ripping it. And like, look at the bass player. She's just chilling in her flip flops, and like I just think they're fantastic. I think they're so great, and they're like really hitting it, And I'm like, that is so cool. It is just so cool to see young people doing stuff like that. And I just love it. I love it. And then when I saw it, I was like, that's so cool. And then I looked and it had gotten 296 thumbs downs on YouTube. And I was like, F those people. Like, I was like, what is wrong with people? Like, why on earth would you like, it's, and that happened once before. Our buddy Tom Nicoli shared a family that did a same thing right in their living room. They all played a song as a family.
Yeah.
And it was the dad, 2 sons and a daughter. And then the other daughter was dancing and they were just having fun, but they were playing for real. And it had like, I don't know, it had less for that one. It had like 39 thumbs down. And I was like, what is wrong with people? Like,
yeah, but it's not a lot of thumbs down. Come on.
Makes you feel like you need to do that,
But let's be fair. Out of 13,000 times up, they got 300 thumbs down. So,
I know, but still, I feel like sometimes you should just get an unblemished record when you're cool. Like, it's like people are going out of their way to blemish your record. And I'm like, man, they need a good kick in the shins, those people. Like,
so here's a question for us from our Twitch viewer who says, how can I recover my confidence after the loss of a family member? I am a student and my teachers don't see my potential and I try, but I don't know what to do. Mr. Paul Ramsey, you are the personal development person.
First of all, that was 2 very different questions.
It is.
How to recover from the loss of a loved one is quite different from how to get your confidence. So those are really like 2 different.
Well, but he says, how do I recover my confidence after the loss of a family member?
Right. And then he said the other thing about
he said, my teachers don't see my potential.
Right.
Yeah.
So first of all, I'll give you the short version of this. This is usually the kind of stuff that I coach people on for multiple sessions and stuff. But very sincerely, first of all, I'm sorry that you lost a loved one. I think that what I always try to focus with clients on when it comes to loss and grieving is whatever you're feeling is okay. It's never wrong to have feelings. Whatever you're feeling is okay. I think if you want to get to a point where if you're like, okay, I recognize, which it sounds like you do, that I need to recover, you recover through celebration, right? You recover through loving energy, not through loss energy, right? You've had a loss. Anyone with a reasonable head on their shoulders knows that you've had a loss. You can't stay in the loss. That's what in classical, Eastern philosophy, Buddhism, Taoism, would be attachment theory, right? That you're so attached to the loved one that you're stuck on that notion that you've lost them. You haven't lost them in some ways. You can genuinely say you haven't lost them. Everything they ever contributed to you, everything that they ever did lovingly for you, you carry it forward. Maya Angelou, I saw Maya Angelou speak once, and she had this beautiful metaphor. She said, I like to think that I can take the people who've touched my lives and just put them in my back pocket and bring them with me wherever I go. And I think it's that kind of a thing of knowing that ultimately your entire lived experience happens here. So if you take that loved one and you go, no, everything they contributed, every way they ever loved me, every way they were ever good to me, I still have. I just don't have their physical presence. And that is unfortunate, right? But you haven't lost them completely. And so getting to reframe that idea of they aren't lost, they're just not with you physically. You still have so much from the way that they were in your life and contributed. Get into that celebration, get into that loving energy, practice, loving, gratitude, all that kind of stuff. The other part, the teachers don't see your potential, fuck them. Like you don't need them to see your potential. Them seeing your potential.
That is Paul's favorite word of their life.
Seriously. That one dude wrote an entire book, The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck, and it became like a bestseller, right? I'm like, you can go spend that money on that book and read it. Go ahead, do it. Or you can I just told you, just don't care. Like, and I'm serious about it. I'm being funny, but at the same time, I'm serious. Like, people recognizing your potential is not what you need to fulfill your potential.
That's true.
Like, you fulfill your potential. You don't need permission. That's one of the biggest myths I run into with clients over and over and over again, is that they, on some level, they've been allowed to be made to think that they need other people's permission to have what they want, be what they want, experience what they want. And this simply isn't true. Choose it, know that you're worth it, and allow yourself to have it. So if you're not meeting your potential, it's not because your teachers don't see it. It's because you're not getting your ass off the couch and doing what it takes to have it happen. So you can make that choice though now. You can go, yeah, I don't need people to tell me. I can just say, I recognize my potential and I'm going to do something about it now. What does that take? What is it like? What does it look like? What's it sound like? What's it feel like? Go do it.
And if you don't want to do it, then just go fuck it.
Yeah, seriously. And if you don't want to, this is, and again, it's like, if you don't want to, you don't have to. Like, this is again, like, you don't have to live by other people's expectations of you. You don't need their okay. You don't need their approval. You don't need their permission. Like, live the life you want to live. Understand that you are completely responsible for that life. That's the truest form of freedom there is, really.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
if you ever find yourself in a place where you cannot say fuck it, be friends with Paul. Come on our
Says it,
show.
I will. I do it to Ifad all the time.
He does.
Ifad calls me. She's like, this thing happened and this person. I'm like, fuck them. That's what it's like. I mean it. It's what we call. It's. She often thinks I'm being cheeky, but it's what in our industry we call it a pattern interrupt. You get locked into a pattern of thinking and behavior and emotional response, and you need a way to interrupt that pattern so you can get out. If not, you're in a groove, you're stuck in a rut, and you have these conditioned responses. So a lot of times when I do that with people, I'm sort of being funny, but sometimes I'm almost like being mean when I do it. Either way, it's to jar people because what they've already done is started to slip into the habit of thought without even knowing it. The habit of like, someone's being jerky to me and I just have to put up with it yet again. Someone's doing this and it's not fair. And they start building that personal narrative and you got to zap people out of that. So one of the easiest ways that I've found to do it is to just go, fuck them. What do you care? And people are like, what? You can't. But that moment in which they get that feeling of like, oh, that's what gets you out. It gets you out of the conditioned pattern. It's
And
useful.
I'll be the first person to tell you that everything he says is completely true. Because I have been stuck in it, right, for a month.
We
with
all
one,
do.
Right, one client, right, and for a whole month, Paul was like, "Fuck him, fuck him, fuck him, fuck him," right? And then finally, I go like, you know what, fuck him, and I get out of it, and it's fantastic. And then the next time that happened, and Paul goes like, "Fuck him," I was like, okay, I don't need to wait a month, right? I can do that.
You get better at it. Yeah.
Yeah.
You recognize the pattern. That's
Yep.
the thing. You interrupt the pattern, then you're more aware of the pattern, then you can get out of it sooner. Yeah. Pattern interrupts are so simple, but they're huge. There's so many great, like I know different people have mixed feelings about everyone in the world. And one of those people is Tony Robbins, right?
Yep.
I love Tony Robbins. I admire Tony Robbins in so many ways. He's a human being. He's not perfect, but I've done some of his coaching programs and I'll never forget this one time where he was at a big event. He had like 8,000 people in a stadium and he's doing coaching and stuff. And he had a live coaching session. He asked someone to volunteer to do live coaching in front of everyone. And he said, right now, he goes, anytime we have this many people in a room, there's going to be dozens of people who have recently considered suicide. Who's willing to admit right here now that as much as today, they have had suicidal thoughts and ideas. And people raise their hands, and he went and he picked this one young man and he started talking to him and he says, what's going on? And what happens is the young man starts to tell his pattern, right? He starts to tell his story, which is reinforced over and over again. And Tony stops him with this, he goes, it's the shoes, isn't it? And look at what you just did, right? You went, and that's what the kid did, the young man. He did that. It causes a moment of confusion, interrupts the pattern. Now he's not in the story. And he goes, what? And he goes, your shoes. He goes, your shoes are really fucking red.
I remember that one.
You see that
I
one?
totally remember. Yeah.
And everyone sort of giggles, and the young man can't help but giggle a little bit. And he goes, I mean, if I had shoes like that, I might want to kill myself too. And so he's messing with him on purpose, but with a loving intention of not allowing him to stay in the conditioned pattern of whether it's shame or self-loathing or self-pity or whatever it is. And just a simple thing like that, when it's well applied, and then by getting him out of that pattern, he was then, I've got him, and I can take him down this whole other path. And then he coached him down that other path and didn't let him stay in the personal narrative. Pattern interrupts are huge.
So you know what's interesting about what you just said, and we have Grant going like, boom, wise words. It's only the F word, right, Grant? The wise word is the F word, right? But we have 2 people watching us on Twitch, and they're saying, thanks, Paul. You are such a great coach. And the other one says, I think I need more self-esteem. I will try your advice. So many thanks. Come back and tell us how that worked for you, because that's the interesting part. What you just said about Tony Robbins is like fascinating, because when someone who doesn't know pattern interrupts watches this, they're going like, the hell, and how unnice are you, and why?
Just seems like he's being rude. Yeah, if you don't understand the technique, it just appears on the surface as if you're being rude. Yeah, it's
Right. Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, so I'm so
That's
glad you
where one of those
explained
things
it.
where Tony knows that, and Tony has to be comfortable in his own skin to the point where he's like, if they don't get it, that's not my problem. I'm trying to help this person.
Right.
And that's part of like living your that's
Sure.
living your thing. Like, I don't need to be recognized by others. I know what I'm doing. I know where my heart is. And that's one of those areas in which he's really good. Like, he knows what he's doing, and he's not looking for other people's approval. He's just trying to change lives. So
Which is really cool, right? Because you remember why you're there in the moment, and you're just focusing on that one person, and it doesn't matter what everybody else thinks at the time.
Right.
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 I remember watching that, and I'm like, how in the hell? The guy is talking about suicide, and you're talking about shoes. Yeah. So yeah.
yeah, the other one that he did once was he said to someone, he got them and they started telling their story, and he goes, you ever just let out a really big fart? And it's one of those things again where it's like, you can't talk about farting right now. And that's exactly why he did, right? And everyone's like, what? And it just interrupts, big time interrupts. Yeah. Yeah.
I should try that with Leo. It's really interesting. All this stuff, my poor kid. Like my guinea pig. So let's spin the wheel.
You're gonna spin it? Hey, wait.
Yeah, I know. What are we giving away?
Oh, I know I know it's our 50th, so I'm gonna give away something bigger than usual. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, okay. Dude, come on. By the time I get to you, it's like here we go.
Episode 50, spin the wheel. Someone is winning something from Paul. Oh, not him.
What?
That's one of my, like, he stood with me on my wedding day. I don't want to give him something.
Stefan. Well, here's how people need to claim their prizes. So you need to watch us. You need to approach us. You need to tell us that you've watched yourself win, and then we are going to give it to you. So we're not going to be chasing you down anymore. If you're watching our shows and you see yourself
Upping
win,
the ante.
exactly. If you
All
are watching
right.
our show, Stefan Papa John.
Steven, you
Steven, Papa
Israeli second language speaker. Steve Papajohn, my
Why the hell
brother.
would you put a PH in a V? Why?
Yeah, I know.
Why? And
So
then call you.
I'm giving away, if Steve claims it, he's getting my 4-week Learn Self-Hypnosis online program, $147 value, 50th episode super bonus giveaway. So congratulations, buddy. Maybe he'll want it. You never know.
And so, what I was saying? Fudge, I wanted to say the 50%. Anyway, I forgot my train of thought. So, that's what I wanted. How much time does he have to claim it?
Wow, you're the rule maker.
I'm the rule maker. You have until our next show on Monday to claim.
There
the
you go.
prize.
There you go.
So-
If we don't hear from you by Monday, we recycle it.
Recycle it.
Yeah, we're making it up
Yeah.
as we go along. Get over it.
We told you we don't have any KPIs, so what do you want from us? So, without any KPIs, thank you very much for watching us today. This is our Friday finish. We will see you Monday at the same time at 6 p.m. Eastern. Yeah.
I want to hear what other people's wins were for the week. Even though we're done with the show, leave us comments. What was your win this week? What happened for you that was great? What was the best thing about your week? We want to celebrate with you. Leave it in the comments and let us know. Have a great weekend. We're so grateful that you've been with us for
50
50 episodes.
episodes,
Thanks
yeah.
so much.
Hey, if you enjoyed today's episode, come back and spend more time with us. You could be on the broadcast sharing your thoughts. We hang out live Monday through Friday at 2 p.m. Eastern at www.bethenakedtruth.com/live.